Park, and joining us right now on a Friar Friday to talk all about it, the CEO of the San Diego Padres, Erik Greupner, with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Erik. How excited is the building there right now?
It's shaking, boys. We're ready. We got 41 to go, and there's going to be some special moments here at Petco Park down the stretch and into the postseason. So it's a great time to be a Padres fan.
You know, Erik, there's been so many special moments over the last few years. We've talked about it on our program a lot. You guys have delivered a lot of special moments, and obviously the big one, right? That's the one that everybody wants. And, last year certainly got close. This year certainly feels close. I know there's a lot of games to go. Nobody's patting themselves on the back yet. But for you guys, how hard is it for you, the CEO, to stay kind of in the moment with what's going on in just the next 10 days or so, and then also having to look towards, next year in the future?
Yeah, I think it's always a balanced view as we look out over the coming years. And really, and I said this, and I know you played a little bit of a clip a moment ago from spring training, but nothing's changed. We are pursuing a strategy over an extended period of years where our plan is to consistently play playoff and hopefully championship caliber baseball. This isn't a one and done approach. It never has been. It's about building something sustainable for the long term around a talented core of veteran players that we've committed to and locked up for the long term, and then continually adding pieces around that core that in the aggregate can produce a championship for San Diego. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're going to continue to do for years to come. And it's just really, I think, edifying to be at this point in the season. AJ had an outstanding trade deadline, and we feel really good about the reinforcements that we brought in, the way we've rounded out the roster. We feel like with 41 to go and a postseason after that, we've got as good of an opportunity this season as we've had in the last 15 years, as you mentioned, to go win a World Series championship. And now we got to stay healthy. We'll continue to get our support that we get from our fans, which is just unbelievable at Petco Park. And they're the unsung heroes. I mean, that our fan base is what has allowed us to consistently pursue a championship in this market. But for their consistent support, we couldn't be at the payroll level that we've been at, that we continue to be at, top 10 payroll in baseball, which gives us a legitimate shot year in and year out to win a championship. So all thanks to our fans, and we're incredibly grateful for them. We're going to need them down the stretch more than ever. We're going to need them at Petco Park, especially with these, key division games against the Dodgers and the Giants coming up. We need them in their seats, bringing that energy that our team feeds off of. And I know they're going to do that. We can count on them, and we're just incredibly grateful.
Yeah, I don't think that's even a concern. I mean, people are just rabid. We see it in our chat every day. We see it on the phone lines. We see it in the streets. I mean, people are rabid for this team. And I wanted to ask you about your general manager, because you talked about the trade deadline he had. Peel the curtain back, if you could, like your role in that, 5-6 days, and I know it goes on longer than that, but your role in that, do you just kind of sit back with your arms crossed and say, let this guy do his thing? I mean, what does it look like when he is putting those deals together that day? Because it was frenetic, to say the least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I get the privilege and the opportunity to be a part of the decision-making process and really sit behind the scenes in the days that lead up to what eventually becomes known publicly. So it felt frenetic. And I think AJ has spoken a bit about this, but, several days before the deadline, we really had those trades all lined up.
Yeah.
Now, things, I've been in that room, for over a decade now, and things don't always go to plan. It's a competitive business. You've got other teams that are trying to oftentimes acquire the same player that you're trying to acquire in a trade. And so you don't really ever know until it's done. You've got medical review. Sometimes things can come up in medical review that change the deal, and you have to figure out how to get over that issue. So it's never done till it's done. But I think what AJ did really a masterful job of was lining up sequentially multiple trades. And so when it came time to execute, that's just the culmination of days, weeks of effort. Our pro scouting, advanced scouting group that was out watching a lot of those players in the weeks leading up to the deadline, a lot of discussion. There was a seminal moment the day before the deadline with John Seidler, AJ, and myself out on the patio outside of the auditorium where we meet for the war room. And AJ walked us through, here's how it's going to come together, and this is what we're looking to do. And there was a gut check moment that involved, the decision on Leo DeVries. And that's not an easy decision to make for any organization. But to the credit of John Seidler and AJ, and I was supportive as well when my opinion came time to voice it, was, look, we're in it to win it, and we want a championship, and we want it this year. And we believe that AJ and his team can continue to replenish our farm system as they've done year in and year out. And for the focus on a championship, you got to put your money where your mouth is, and sometimes that means parting ways with a top prospect to get back the type of depth and complementary pieces that you saw us add at the deadline. So we let AJ cook. He's gotten better every year as he's been in that chair. And, he has really a tremendous skill set when it comes to creatively putting together trades. He's got a great team around him, but, there needed to be sign off at the top, and that sign off came. And it came in unity and focus on winning a championship.
I'll admit, Erik, as the trades were coming kind of down one by one, I think both of us were going like, I don't know about this.
Of course.
What are they doing? But then when you see them all as a whole, and I think it was so important now, learned a little bit more about Freddie Fermin and knowing, the control and the idea that he'll be here for years to come, that Ramon Laureano, you could pick up an option on him and bring him back next year. And it all started to kind of come together. And how important was it in that decision-making process, knowing it wasn't just for 2 months that some of these players, many of them acquired, Mason Miller, were going to be part of what you believe to be competitive teams for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years?
Yeah, it was a huge criteria in the decision. And, to your earlier question about our focus, we're all in on winning a championship this year. We're going to be all in on trying to win a championship next year as well. And to do that, you have to have players under control, complementary pieces to that veteran core that I mentioned a while ago that, we committed to over a period of years. And so, you look at Freddie Fermin, he's a guy that, we really like and we've liked for quite some time, and, was sort of stuck behind Salvador Perez in Kansas City. And, he's a great game caller who really controls the running game about as well as any catcher in baseball. He can really catch and throw, but he's also, he's also a weapon at the plate. And, you look at what he's done since he's joined us, relatively small sample size, but I think you've seen consistently good at bats. He's batting .355 with nearly a 900 OPS since he's joined us. Then you look at Ramon Laureano, who you mentioned. We've got a couple of club options on him that would really look quite attractive right now based on the way he's been playing for the Padres. And, Ryan O'Hearn, a couple of great depth pieces. But Laureano has just been raking. Hitting .333 with a 400 on base percentage and over 1,000 OPS since the trade. I think you've seen his left field defense really round out what is one of the most skilled outfield defensive cores in baseball, with Tatis in right and Jackson in center, and now Laureano in left. His ability to catch and throw the ball within like a second is unbelievable. I don't know that I've ever seen a guy no crow hop, right? Like, he catches the ball in one movement, turns around, and it's back into the infield. So, huge defensive upgrade there. And then, as you mentioned, Mason Miller, to have 4 years of control for Mason Miller, really a guy at the back end of the bullpen who's just a strikeout machine and elite and electric. To have both he and Suarez at the back end of the bullpen shortens the game along with the rest of the bullpen in a way that you have to in modern playoff baseball, right? Your starter's probably not going to go more than 4 or 5 innings. Certainly probably not going to see a lineup a third time through. You got to get to your bullpen. And as we did last year, building a super pen with Tanner Scott and others that we acquired, Jason Adam, you can never have too good of a bullpen when the postseason rolls around. So feel really good about where we're at there. and feel really good about the years of control we have on a number of those guys. So, couldn't be happier with where we sit right now with the trade deadline and how it's played out. But, we got to keep playing baseball at the level that we've been at. We got 41 games to go. We got an incredible home field advantage when it comes to playing at Petco Park. Could not be in a better spot, but that doesn't guarantee anything. We got to go out and get it. We got to take it. It's not going to be given to us.
Talking to Erik Greupner, and Erik, I have no idea if you can answer any of this, but after the news we got yesterday, I'm sure Mike Schilt will address it. Can you say anything about Michael King and the injured list, the knee injury, anything that you can update for our Tier 1 listeners?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of the discussion you guys were having earlier, and there certainly are sometimes moves made across the league that cause you to scratch your head a little bit, where it feels like there might be a player who's put on the IL, strategically and not necessarily because he's as limited physically as they might indicate. That is not what's going on here. Unfortunately, cartilage issue in the knee with Michael that really acted up in the last few days and swelled up on him. The good news is, there's not structural damage in a way where, we think he's going to be limited once he comes back. It's just getting the knee to calm down, getting some of that extra fluid out of there. And then, we feel confident that at least as to the knee, he's going to be in a really good spot to return when the IL stint is done. So it is a knee. It was unfortunate for him to have a setback after, what he dealt with this year. But on the whole, it's the best possible version of what that injury could have been. And we feel confident he's going to come back strong and be ready to contribute down the stretch because we're going to need him.
Erik, there's always the great unknown with anything in life, and baseball's no different. The rumors of the lockout and the work stoppage potentially coming. And, listen, this is high level stuff. It's way out of my lane. But for you guys having to potentially prepare for things like that, does that hinder for you, your ability to move forward as a CEO? Like I've got a couple people asking like, hey, is there any update on a Padres TV deal? Those things, they're tough to come by, number one, these days. But how does that hinder you knowing, hey, we have this kind of large looming issue that's out there? Does that need to be resolved first, or how does that work?
Yeah, I do see that commentary from time to time, the question asked of when are we going to get a TV deal? We have a TV deal. We have a TV deal with MLB Media, and we are generating, I promise this to the fans, we are generating the maximum possible revenue we can in our market at this time in our partnership with MLB Media. We are the smallest media market in baseball. We never use that as an excuse. We have a top 10 payroll. We have incredible fan support. We're very grateful for that. We are maximizing the very best we can get out of our current situation. You mentioned the labor negotiations that are going to be coming up with the new CBA. There is a lot that goes into our long-term strategic plan around media that I'm not at liberty to discuss publicly. I will just say, yeah, I will just say that there are no bidders out there right now for our local media rights. There was a bankruptcy with Sinclair. Our contract was terminated.
Yep.
That was not a decision that was ours to make. We pivoted, made the very best of the situation. The silver lining is that we've significantly increased distribution of our games, so our fans can now watch our games more places than they ever could before. The three of us had a conversation about that in the wake of it happening. We've had our games available via streaming in market without local market blackout, which was not something we traditionally made available. And we added an OTA package this year with 10 games where our games are on everywhere. We are ahead of budget. We're generating more revenue than we thought that we would through MLB Media, and we're doing everything we can to get every last dollar out of that. We're going to keep doing that. And there's a lot of hope on the horizon that things could get even better, significantly better for us when it comes to media revenue. I can't discuss that right now, but there's a lot of things we're working on for the intermediate and long term that I think would really excite Padres fans. And among other things that could come together could make the Padres even more competitive than we have been historically, even over the last 5 years, relative to all other Major League Baseball teams. So we're on it. Nobody wants it more than we do in terms of long-term stability and more revenue. But in the interim, we fight and we claw every day. We sell our own ads. We took that on. We're generating every last dollar we can, and it all goes back into this team and payroll to try to win a championship.
And the Banana Pudding Fund has got to be, at some point, it's got to be.
You and that pudding, man.
Woods really enjoyed his birthday surprise, Erik.
I did, and somebody did DM me and said, "Have you gotten a cut yet?" And I said, "No, I don't need it. My cut is all the banana pudding I can eat, Erik." So if you tell me next year, Woodsy, we can't sign this free agent, we can't re-sign O'Hearn, I'm going to go, I don't know. We moved a lot of banana pudding out at Petco Park this year, so it just sounds like an excuse to me at this point. But we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Don't get rid of the pudding, by the way. Don't make it. Just don't. It's not a 1 year special. Leave them wanting more. This should be a staple, like a hot dog and a Cracker Jack. I just want to get that out there while I have it.
Absolutely.
All right.
No, the banana pudding's outstanding.
That's outstanding.
You got a full.
I did.
A full batter's helmet, not the mini helmet, but the full helmet.
Yeah,
the full giant.
We're trying to get Bruce Bochy to donate a helmet for him to put the banana pudding in.
So good. Thank you.
One last thing for me, because this is just a pure curiosity question, but it's not uncommon now to see celebrities at Padres games. Kawhi Leonard, Emma Stone, whoever. Shakira was at the game recently. How does that work when like a mega star wants to come to a game? Do they contact you? Do they just buy tickets on the website and you're
not a mega star? He's not going to do that. He's not going to roll that out for you.
Because I thought that was cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, sitting down the third baseline is Ben Higgins.
That was pretty cool. That actually came together last minute. So her agent reached out to us. I had her in my suite with a couple of her kids, some friends, and they had their kids with them. And they stayed the very end of the game. It was a walk-off and extras. They were super dialed into the game. They had a blast. They were loving the Padres gear that we gave them, and she was really sweet and just, very down to earth for obviously being an international music superstar. So her agent reached out. That's how it happened. So Ben, if you want to have your agent reach out, we'll be waiting for the call. And
he never calls us.
Yeah,
our agent, we never hear from him.
We never hear from him.
Kind of a waste of time.
Yeah. But on the topic of international music stars,
yes.
Before we break for today, I want to make sure I get this one in. So Jose Iglesias, aka Candelita, is going to be playing a show with La Adictiva September 25th at Gallagher Square. So we're really excited for that. He's got 3 songs, a couple of them that he plays with La Adictiva, obviously his big hit OMG that dropped last year when he was playing for the Mets. But I think Padres fans, that's not to be missed. Come out September 25th to Gallagher Square to support Jose. And I think you're going to see a lot of Jose's teammates side stage there, for the show as well. So it should be a really cool environment. And if you're looking for something to do on September 25th, come on down to Gallagher Square and enjoy some great music and see these guys, hanging out, supporting their teammate.
Erik, very appreciated the time. I will also say my hips are very honest, just like Shakira.
Stop, please. So sorry. Just let him go.
Go home, Ben.
Got business to do.
Erik, good luck to the Padres rest of the season. We always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. See you guys soon.